Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Creativepreneur Podcast. I am very excited because today I'm going to be speaking with Chelsea B. Foster. She is the owner of Chelsea B. Foster, her business, where she does workflow and productivity consulting, education, and coaching for her clients. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, thanks for having me, Braden.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So I will let everyone know that I have actually worked with Chelsea firsthand on my business. So I'm really excited to have her here because she's giving me some great tips and we have just barely gotten started on what we're doing for myself. So I know she's going to have a lot of great tips for you as well.
Oh my goodness, you're making me blush over here.
I know, right? Well, I always start by just giving some background because I know a large chunk of my audience are side hustlers, or maybe they haven't even started a business and they're just looking into it. So it's always inspiring to know what people's background is. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into this business.
Yeah, so I actually started my adult career, is what I like to call it, back in Missouri. I now live in California, but in Missouri, I studied to be an educator, and I taught physics for ninth graders for 2 years, and I also taught all of the other ninth grade teachers in the state how to teach physics to ninth graders. It was great fun. I loved it. Fell in love with education. My husband started a tech company called Zapier. If you guys haven't heard of it, you need to look it up. It's amazing. And I'm so excited I finally get to talk about it with my other biz friends because my other jobs before I started this did not understand Zapier at all or want to use it at all. So anyway, I love talking about it now and I get zero promotion for talking about it at all. But it's amazing. So anyway, he started this company. We moved to California. And of course, California being California, my teaching certificate didn't transfer. So I spent a good 5 years kind of exploring, well, if I can't be a teacher, what do I do? And long story short, I did a lot of different things. And finally, I started my own business, designing wedding invitations. It wasn't a great fit, but through that, I started having these amazing conversations with my other business friends about how to organize their business, how to streamline it, how to set up the tech pieces. And finally, I had this light bulb moment that I could do this for all the time. I didn't have to take time away from designing wedding invitations to do this. I could just stop doing wedding invitations and start doing this full time. And that moment was probably one of the greatest moments of my life when I decided that I was going to actually go back to teaching people things. And I had figured out how to do it and I could do it with whatever I wanted to. And I love talking about tech and I love talking about organization. And it just seemed like the perfect fit. And it feels so good to be able to do this and to help other people figure out their businesses and how to organize it, streamline it, get rid of that overwhelmed feeling, so that you don't have to sit there, feel like you're alone and crying over all the to-dos that you have to do and that didn't get done today, because we all do that. We all feel that, but you don't have to feel it alone and you don't have to feel like that forever.
So I'm curious to know why wedding invitations weren't really your jam, because I have clients who do full-time wedding invitation design and that's their business. And so I'm sure I'll have some listeners as well. What led you to the transition?
Yeah. So when I started my business, I really was just thinking, I want to start having kids soon and I want to be able to work from home when that happens so I can have a part-time job and still contribute to the family, but also be a part-time stay-at-home mom. And for all of you that are full stay-at-home moms, bless you. I don't think I could do that. I don't have kids yet. So maybe when I have kids, I'll change my mind. But I definitely think I want to be a part-time stay-at-home mom and a part-time business owner. So I decided to start something and I had to start somewhere. I was good at graphic design and my sister was getting married. So I thought, this is great. I designed my own wedding invitations a few years ago. I designed pretty much every invitation for every event that any of my friends and family do, baby showers, graduations, retirement parties, literally everything. So I thought that could be a business. It just wasn't filling every, interest of mine. So yes, I'm good at it, but it wasn't really fueling me. And once I figured out what my vision is for owning my own business, it was really clear why running a wedding invitation business didn't fit with me. And my vision is always to make sure that you know exactly that you are perfect where you are, that you are capable of anything that you want. You just have to put in the work, and that there's no one right way to go about doing that. And so wedding invitations don't really align with that specifically. So that's why I think that there was a misalignment between my job and my vision. And so obviously,
yeah, because you're an educator. So, I mean, there's only so much educating you can do through the invitation design process.
exactly. And the education, especially for custom invitations, it's a very short period where you can talk to people and actually educate them on the process. And usually they find you way too late in the process. And so that education piece like kind of falls through.
I feel you. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense to me because I've learned my favorite part about being an attorney is educating clients and doing consultations. I don't live to sit in a cubicle and draft contracts, but that is some people's passion. So that's
Exactly.
a big difference.
Yeah. And you have to go back to what you really are meant to be doing with your life. I clearly am meant to be talking to people and sharing and just like giving all of my knowledge. Like I've always done that my whole life. And so, yeah, I just needed to find a profession that let me do that.
Perfect. So great segue. That's what we're doing today. So we're going to let you educate us all on workflows and productivity. So let's start by, can you just tell us what is a workflow? Sounds super obvious, but there are probably people listening who are like, what the hell is a workflow? What are you talking about? What is this all about?
Absolutely. And workflow has different definitions depending on the setting. I'll just preface this with that statement. But for me and for my clients, the way that I define a workflow is the process that you're going to follow every time you do a certain thing. So when you get dressed in the morning, you have a workflow. Like you probably put your pants on first and then your shirt, or vice versa, right? You always put your socks on before you put your shoes on. That's a workflow. Same thing in your business. Your workflows are the steps that you're going to do every single time you do something. So when a client comes in, you get this new lead. What does that process look like? That is your leads process or leads workflow. What is the process for getting them onboarded? That is your onboarding workflow. What is your process for getting a blog post published? That's your blogging workflow. So that's really
And
just what a workflow is.
and I'm assuming this comes much more naturally for some people than for others.
Absolutely. There are people that are naturally organized and want to have a system figured out, and they know exactly step by step by step, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. And then there are other people that are very, they're more like the type B people that are very, not fly by the seat of your pants, but very, like you're a lot less structured and you don't care as much about the control of every single piece of the process, which is, I'm super type A. I have all that lined out. Like I used to be, I've been working with my therapist on this, but I used to be, if I didn't know what I was doing this weekend, I would like shut down. And yeah, but a lot of my clients are very type B. They are very, I can't even think of the word. What is the word that I'm looking for? Yeah, a little bit more free spirited. You're less worried about the details and more about like the big picture. And that's totally fine. But it
to
often
give a concrete example,
yeah.
I was like, I'm probably stressing Chelsea out over my workflow or lack thereof of getting this podcast planned, because I'm just like, hey, what do you want to talk about on our podcast? And to me, it's like, oh, we'll figure it out. People who really enjoy workflows are going to be like, I invite you to be on my podcast. We schedule at this point, and then we have an automated follow-up form and then a scheduled meeting. And I am probably much more like Chelsea's average client, and that is not really natural to me because I don't really like planning my days that far in advance, because it really locks me into something when I don't know what I'm going to be doing that day.
Exactly. And I always like to tell my clients that the structure is there not to feel constricting, but to give you purpose so that your time actually has meaning now, instead of just like this open-ended time where you don't really have a focus.
Right. So let's talk about specifically, I think it would be good to talk about client intake workflow specifically, because that's going to apply to the broadest audience. So, what would a workflow look like in that respect? And I'll also give the context that we're going to be specifically talking about CRMs today, if you want to start diving into that too.
Yeah. So your onboarding workflow is going to look a little bit different from the next person, from the next person. So the first question to ask yourself is really, what do I need from my clients in order to figure out if they are a good fit or not? And what does the client need from me in order to figure out if we're a good fit or not? Because the whole leads process really is about kind of that dating period where you're figuring out, do we work well together? Is this relationship going to work out? Because you're entering a relationship with this person. And I love that analogy to dating because you really do need to make sure you want to go on a lot of dates with this person before you move forward, because you're going to be working together with them. You're going to have a lot of calls together. And if it's not a good fit, if you feel like off for any reason, you need to end that relationship. Same thing on the client side. You need to give them that option to end the relationship if it's not a good fit. So first of all, make a map of what all of those things are. Do you need to meet with them in person? Do you need to have a call? Are you okay just asking questions and having them fill out a questionnaire? Whatever that is, start with that. Second thing, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so when you're looking at the information that you need to know from this individual, obviously, if you're a wedding photographer, you want to know, well, when is this person getting married?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Make sure that if there's any dates or events related, you're asking them about that date.
Right. Same thing if you're a wedding planner. Obviously, it's different if you are someone like me or someone like Chelsea that does consulting. Maybe you're a graphic designer. It's not specific, like you don't have to do things on a particular day. If someone needs to have a meeting with you, you have options. But we're talking about all of those specific details that you need to know before you can onboard a client.
Exactly. I also like to think about what are those non-negotiables that are an automatic no. So like clearly, if you're not available, that's an automatic no. If your client can't afford you and is unwilling to adjust their budget, that is an automatic no. There's a few other automatic no's depending on your industry as well and kind of what you feel as a business owner. You should and should not have to bend and adjust as you want or don't want. So
yeah,
definitely
I talked to a graphic design friend that told me, she was like, if one more person comes to me and specifies that they want like this specific type of logo, I'm going to pull my hair out. So maybe keep that in mind too if you have a particular aesthetic that you're trying to work around.
Exactly. And put that on your lead capture form, which is what the second part of the figuring out your leads process is creating a leads capture form so you can actually collect leads and collect them in a place that you can track them. So whether that's a form on your website, whether that is inside a CRM, or whether it's just like if you're on Squarespace, creating the newsletter form, getting their name and email and having them fill out one question, that's fine. Start somewhere, collect their information and get it in a system that you can track them through that leads process. If you're ready to upgrade that leads capture form, you're going to look at all of those non-negotiables, all of those red flags that you need to figure out. Ask questions about them. So if budget is something that you're having a lot of trouble, people coming to you and they are way under budget, ask a question on your leads capture form about the budget. Ask them what it is. If you are a wedding industry, ask them what day their wedding is so you can make sure your calendar is open that day. All of those things that you need to figure out to pre-qualify them, ask on your lead capture form. Okay?
Yeah, so to get really, really basic about this, what we're talking about, and this seems really silly to even mention, but I just had a consultation yesterday with someone who didn't know what a lead capture form was. So when I started my business, like my contact form literally was just like my email and my phone number. And it was like, hey, if you want to hire me, like call or email me.
That's a lead form, by the way. Huh? That's a basic lead form, but it is a lead form. You're collecting.
Right, but there was no form. It was just like, here's my email address, copy and paste it in your email and email me. So gotcha. What we're talking about is embedding a form into your website. You've all filled them out before, even if you haven't integrated them into your business. And then capturing, at a minimum, their name and their contact information. And then what Chelsea's recommending is getting all of the non-negotiable information on there as well. So this process can get very, very sophisticated. I know when I very first did this, I used Google Forms to do it, which is
Yep, me too.
free. And that was before I had Squarespace. I was using WordPress. So that was a free integration. Now I have Squarespace. So they have Squarespace forms. And then the next level beyond that would be using a CRM. So let's transition into that. And I will let you explain to everyone what a CRM is if they have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, a CRM is a client relationship management tool. And if you are working with clients, you need one, period. It automates a whole bunch of things. It allows you to consolidate a lot of information about your clients and collect their information in a safe and secure place and one place. So they're not in your email, in your project management tool or task management tool. They're not on a Google form, like all these different places that you communicate with your clients or in your text messages. With a CRM, you're able to consolidate all of that information into one place. So you have one place to look, one place to send your clients, one place to collect information.
Okay, so some of the main examples of CRMs would be.
Yeah, the two most popular ones, especially for our audiences, are Dubsado and Honeybook. And they are fantastic. Both of them are great software. You just have to look at them and decide which one is right for you because they both do basically the same thing. They allow you to collect a lead. They allow you to track them through the leads process, share PDFs, and ask them to fill out questionnaires. You also can send them their invoice and a contract whenever they're ready to book. And then you can track them through the process of whatever you do for them. So if you are a graphic designer, you can send them proofs and collect all of their feedback from the proofs. You can send them their final files. If you are a photographer, you can communicate with them throughout the wedding planning process until you get to the wedding, and then even send them the link through Dubsado or Honeybook to your, let's say it's a Pixie Set site.
So I know I've also heard a lot of people use 17 Hats. I'm not as familiar with that one, but that's
Yes.
one that I've heard of. And then I know there was a wedding planning tool specifically that was mentioned by someone on a Facebook group I saw.
Probably Aisle Planner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
takeaway, there's a lot of these tools. Chelsea specifically recommending probably Honeybook or Dubsado. At the end of this conversation, we're going to talk about those two and more specifically in the strengths and weaknesses of each.
Yes. Yeah. And if you are using one, if you're looking for one right now and you have no idea where to start with those two. They are really, really good. I definitely recommend them over 17 Hats. If you are a wedding planner, I would look at Aisle Planner and see if it fits what you need. The biggest thing is make sure that whatever tool you pick checks all the boxes for what you need it to do. Because again, with everything in your business, your business looks a little different than anyone else that runs a business similar to yours. So you may need a different tool than they use.
Yeah, I don't know if you would agree with this statement, but I would also advise that if you're in the very beginning of your business, you need to come up with a workflow, but that workflow is probably going to have to change. So when you're looking at these tools, I actually look into them assuming that there's a good chance I might have to change in the future. And if you accept that, it's not as stressful in the beginning.
That is so true. Like just anytime you're looking at a new direction or some new thing to try, just go for it and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, it's fine. Almost all of these tools offer a free trial period. So sign up for the free trial, put a couple clients in there and test it out. It doesn't hurt anything to test it.
Yeah, so that's what I actually did, the Honeybook and Dubsado free trials at the same time. And within a couple of hours, I knew which one I personally wanted to use. So that's a good tip.
Exactly.
I wanted to note that I know that my graphic designer uses Basecamp, and I don't think that's technically a CRM. I believe it's more of a project management tool.
It is more of a project management tool, but if you're just starting out, you do not need Basecamp. It is very, very powerful and
expensive.
It's very expensive. It's more when you have 20 clients all at the same time and you're managing all of that and you have a team with you, that's when it really excels.
Cool. Yeah, because I know that she has 50 projects open at a time.
Yep.
So she has different threads with all of the design files going for each of those clients. So
exactly.
I guess I guess the point I would make is there are a lot of things that seem kind of like a CRM, but when I think of a CRM, I'm thinking integrating automated workflows and taking contracts and paying invoices.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so let's get back into the lead capture workflow. To give some context, can you tell us what your workflow is in your individual business?
Sure. Yeah. And I will tell you, my workflow has changed a little bit over time, and yours will too. The important thing is that you dive in and you try something, see if it works for you, see if you're getting the results out of it that you want. And if not, then you can change something. So currently I have a lead capture form, and it actually is not a it's a lead capture, but I call it, what do I call it? Oh my gosh. It's an application. Sorry. So I call mine an application because for my one-on-one services, I am very exclusive. I'm only taking a couple of clients at a time. And so an application seems like a better fit. It is a lead capture form, to be sure. So they fill out that lead capture form that asks all of those questions so that I can pre-qualify them, make sure we're a good fit. And then we hop on a call. During the filling out of the application, they actually schedule a call with me. And if we are a good fit, I'll confirm that call or decline that call and let them know, hey, I don't think we're a good fit. This person might be a better fit for you. And I always love to give, if we're not a good fit, give them another solution, a different way to go. Now,
Okay, so
I was going to say, I want to talk about the scheduling that call, because this is something that's super important. And I know you wanted to talk about too. Do you want me to talk about it right now?
Oh yeah, I'm actually on your contact form, so I was going to run through the fields you have on it. You don't want me to do that?
No.
Okay, well,
no, they're going to change before this airs.
Okay, well, if you want to get an example of how Chelsea's contact form looks, you can go to her website, chelseabfoster.com, and Chelsea is spelled CHELSEA, B as in boy, foster.com, and you can see how she has made her contact forms. It's pretty robust. I really like it.
Yeah, and my contact form was not that lengthy when I first started. It used to just be name, email, since I was working in the wedding industry, your significant other's name and email, what the budget was, when the wedding was, what pieces they wanted. So, because I was a stationer, did they want invitations? Did they want save the dates? If you offer several different services, you need to ask them about that. Make sure that is a question. If they had any extra events that they wanted stuff done for. So if you're a photographer and maybe they want you to come to the bachelorette party or the bachelor party and take photos for them, like that is something cool that you could offer. And if you do offer that, you need to let them know. And one way to let them know is on that lead capture form. Even if they looked at your whole website, they may have missed something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to your calendaring point or scheduler.
Yeah.
Point.
So I love to book my calls with a scheduling app because I don't want to have to go back and forth in email. Is this date good? Is this time good? No, that doesn't work for me. Maybe this time. No, that doesn't work for me. How about this time? Like you can go back and forth forever. I also don't want to ever schedule something manually and double book, which super embarrassing. I did this twice with a client. I double booked them and had to reschedule. Super embarrassing. I never, ever wanted to do that ever again. And I never want that to happen to you. And one way to fix that is by using a scheduling app. Basically, it's like your assistant. It takes care of scheduling your meetings for you. You can create an event type, whatever that meeting is. So I have consultation calls. I have coffee dates. I have coaching calls. I have lunch dates. I also have any workshops. I put those in there. So if someone wants to sign up for a workshop with me, but basically you set up that event, you set up the scheduling rules. So when do you want to be available for that type of thing on your calendar? And then people can book on their own. It's super, super simple.
Yeah, so this is what we're actually going to be working on soon. Very excited. So I'll do this. I'll give a really quick example of my workflow because this has been a game changer in my business. Because I finally got to the point where my business was starting to snowball. And about 6 months ago, I had 5 people schedule 1-hour consultations in 1 week. And these were paid consultations. So before that, I was sending people PDF documents of my contract. and they needed to either use DocuSign or print the document, sign it, and then scan it and send it back to me. Super inefficient. And then I would send them a payment link. I at least had that, but some people would mail me checks. So now with my workflow through Dubsado, I have my lead capture form on my website. And the last question is a drop down category of what do you want to hire Braden for? And if you select a 1 hour consultation, it will automate my contract and my invoice to you and my calendar. So you will sign my contract, pay me, and schedule the meeting without us having to do any email back and forth whatsoever. So that's huge. I mean, it probably saves me an hour's worth of work per person.
At
uh,
least.
at least. And so what we're going to be doing now is this is where I get a little bit confused because I was trying to do like 10-minute intake phone calls for people who just want to ask me questions about my services. That I have a really hard time calendaring because one of my biggest pet peeves is like yesterday, I didn't have any client meetings all afternoon, but someone went on my Calendly and scheduled a phone call for 3:10 in the afternoon. So I was like, okay, so am I going to stay in the office or can I go ahead and leave and go to Target and do my shopping like I wanted to? Now I have to take this 10-minute phone call at like who knows where I am. So it's balancing that with scheduling 1 hour consultations. I do 2 hour meetings for DIY entity formation clients and all these different things. And so Chelsea's going to be helping me get a calendaring system in place, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah. And using an app to schedule all of these, it makes it so easy. Like I don't have to worry about it. I have all of my calls are different lengths. So some are 1 hour, some are 2 hours, some are 15 minutes, some are 30 minutes, some are 45. I don't have to worry about it. I can set boundaries on them. So I can say, I only want to schedule these on Tuesday mornings or like my coffee chats. They're only on Thursday mornings. I don't schedule coffee chats any other time. That's mostly for me because I would do coffee chats all day long, every day if I could, but I would never get work done. So they're only on Thursday mornings. And so if someone wants to have a coffee chat with me, I just send them the link to go schedule a coffee chat. They pick a time. It's always going to be on a Thursday morning. I never have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're also able to block off time if you're like, I don't want to have any meetings today. It's super fast to just block off your whole day and no one can schedule a meeting that day.
Yeah, I think what happens is a lot of the time, and I was definitely in this situation, is in the beginning you want to bend over backwards to meet everyone's availability. And I would schedule calls on like Sundays at 4 or Saturdays at like 9 in the morning. And eventually you're going to get to the point where you can't do that anymore. It's not going to work with your schedule. It's a lot easier if you set those boundaries early on. And this sounds like really strict, but you have to go in with the mindset of you're wanting to hire me. I'm the professional here. This is my schedule. This is my calendar. If you happen to work every Thursday morning, well, you need to carve out a time when you can come talk to me during my available calendar.
Exactly. And the other thing is it helps you with your boundaries and staying accountable to yourself. So I was one of those people that would bend over backwards. And if you couldn't meet me at 5 p.m., but you're available at 8 p.m., okay, maybe, yeah, we'll schedule it. But once I set this up, that never happened. People magically found out a way or figured out a way to make it happen during the times that were available. And if they really couldn't, then they would email me and we would figure out another time. Or I would tell them, maybe we're not a great fit. So it really allowed me to stay more accountable to my own boundaries and not feel like I was being a bad guy, but saying that I couldn't meet with them at a certain time, which, having that boundary and having that conversation with people sometimes is uncomfortable for people. So creating the schedules inside my calendar app, which I use Acuity, which is very similar to Calendly, and Dubsado has a scheduler as well. They're all fantastic. So it helped me with my boundaries and being able to say, no, this is only when I talk to my clients during this time. This is when I schedule lunch dates only during this time, so that I'm not running all over the place all the time and really just getting drained by all the meetings that are not happening when I want them to happen.
So I have a lot of specific calendaring questions, but I'm starting to wonder if those are just like selfishly things that I'm interested in. So instead, I want to back up and talk a little bit more about the workflows. So let's give some examples of all of the things that programs like HoneyBook and Dubsado can do, because it's pretty crazy, like what you can do with these tools.
Yeah, they are so robust. So first of all, you can collect leads through there. Both Dubsado and Honeybook and a bunch of the other CRMs, they offer lead capture forms that you can embed on your website, which is great because it can look exactly like your website. They never have to leave your website to fill out that form, yet their information gets input in your CRM. So fantastic. Most of them you can trigger workflows based on how they answer certain questions on that lead capture form, which a workflow inside one of the CRMs is a specific set of things you want to happen automatically without you having to do them.
So these are like if then rules. So it's set up as
automations, yeah.
yeah, they're automations. So for example, when I had my Google form, it was a very long form because it was like page 1, basic information. Page 2 was all tax questions. These were questions that I would need if you were going to hire me to do a tax return. Well, now instead of it being like a 10-page long form that no one wants to fill out, you select the drop down of what you want to hire me for. And if you select tax return, then my workflow will say, if they select that, then I'm going to send them a second form via email with all of the tax questions that I need. And so that's a separate survey. And you can also
Absolutely.
do like all these if rules with contracts, with invoices, with you can have it trigger task lists for yourself, have them send a calendar link.
It's amazing. I love it so much. You can add tags. You can send them forms. You can send them links. You can send them an email. One of my favorite things that I think everyone should do, especially if you're in the wedding industry, because if you're in the wedding industry, people are looking at a lot of other vendors. Send them a confirmation email that you got their information immediately, because you want to get back in their inbox as fast as you can. And the earlier you can get in their inbox, the better chance you have of being hired.
That's smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really smart.
So that is one thing that a CRM can do, which is fantastic. I will tell you that stuff does take a little while to set up. So if you get in and you're overwhelmed, don't be alarmed. That's normal. You just have to figure it out and learn the system. And there are people out there that will help you, like me. There are other people like me out there too. So, and we love to like help you figure out all of the, if this happens, then this happens. And if this happens, then this happens. Like it's a little puzzle and I love figuring it out.
And just a little bit of information, FYI, for everyone listening, because I know there are some people listening who might say, I'm new in business, I cannot afford any of this. Just so you know, these tools we're talking about are starting at like $30 to $40 a month.
Yep.
Which in my mind is probably the best bang for my buck I spend on my business as far as business expenses go. There are a lot of tools that cost way more money that aren't as robust. And then also, if you do have the budget, there are people like Chelsea who you can hire to set all of this up for you, or that you can just do consulting services with. So keep that in mind as well.
Exactly. I also personally have a membership site where we dive into business tools like a CRM every single month. For the person who is not ready to hire someone to do it, they're ready to DIY it. So if that's something that's interesting to you, look and see if the person that you want to hire has a service like that that's more DIY and more available at your budget level.
And then so the main tip I would give going through this experience myself, it took me probably about 40 hours, and I did this over the span of 3 days, getting most of my workflow set up. And I've redeveloped a lot since then. But I wrote mine out on a sheet of paper, like step by step, how I wanted it to look and operate. So that way I could start with that visual example. And then I started at kind of the end of the workflow, if that makes sense. So it's figuring out all of the information you need. So you're going to want to go in and create your workflow and do all of your ifs and thens. But before you do that, you have to actually put in all your contract templates, create all of your lead capture forms, create your surveys, and anything that's going to be part of that triggering sequence.
Absolutely. And I actually, for my clients, I recommend that we set up everything and you do it manually for a few clients to make sure that everything is ready, everything is correct, and then we'll build your workflow that matches what you were doing manually.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And having it written down, whether you are building out the workflow or you are just doing everything by hand, that will change your life. Because again, you have it written out, you know exactly, if they email me this, then I send them this form, and I need this information from them to move on to the next step. And I know that it's going to take about this many days for them to get back to me, or I need to collect this information from them before I can do this step. So
yeah, and I know I spoke with one photographer who told me they had a 27-step workflow for new photography clients, which kind of blew my mind. But that took them through lead capture on the inquiry form all the way through the end of the wedding and sending out the photos. So
yeah.
some of those things are automated, some you'll trigger yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
these things can be as complicated as that, or as simple as lead capture and then send automated email saying, hey, I got your form. I'm going to look at it later, and then I'll call you when I have time. It can be as simple as
Exactly.
1 to 2 steps to 50.
Exactly. And I actually prefer to have a lot of tiny workflows that I can go in and turn on and off whenever I want to. Or now Dubsado has where you can trigger a second workflow to start, which is amazing. I'm so excited about that new feature. I really am. I'm totally geeking out about all of the new features that Dubsado is adding. But yeah, so definitely, no matter what your workflow is, having it written out first, whether you're doing it manually or you're adding automations, it's going to change your life. And it's going to make working with clients and processing them through the leads process a lot easier.
Well, if I can give one more tip, and I don't mean to steal all the tips because you're the expert here, but I always think it's a lot of people want to wait until they're making more money or they have more clients. But this is going to be so much easier if you do it when you don't have a ton of clients. Because
And
if
you
you
have the
wait
time.
right, if you wait until you're already slammed, then you're not going to have the time to put into building the workflows. And also, if you start in the beginning, you can make your workflows super simple and then make them more complicated and sophisticated as you grow in your business.
Exactly. Exactly. And I honestly, when I first signed up for a CRM, I asked myself, why did I wait so long? And I was
Yeah.
super organized. Like I had all my systems figured out. A lot of it was automated, but I was still manually sending invoices, manually sending contracts. And that took up a lot of time. And once I started using a CRM, that whole process went from taking me an hour to taking me 10 minutes.
Totally.
So
Okay,
game
so
changer.
we have one more main topic we want to get to, but before that, I want you to just briefly mention what Zapier does and
Mhm.
how people can integrate this into their CRM.
Yeah, so Zapier is an integration website that basically makes all of your applications talk to each other and share information. So anything that you are doing that is what I call the data shuffle. So you're taking information from this program and you're putting it in this program. Like for instance, someone signs up as a lead and they say, yes, I want to be on your email list too. So that lead lives somewhere and your email list is probably somewhere else.
I'm still
Zapier,
doing that.
yeah,
I'm still
Zapier can
manually entering
do
it.
the data shuffle for you. It's amazing. So it can take all of their contact information and add it into your email management system, or go the other way around. If they sign up for an email list and they say that they want a product, you could add them into your CRM and say, okay, I'm going to send them this information about that product. And I have it for so many things. I use it with Asana to track people through my podcasting. So I have a podcast also. And so I have a ton of Zaps set up for the podcast that track them through the podcast interview process for my guests, and automatically moving cards from different columns to the next column and checking things off for me. Yeah, it's amazing. You can get things out of Gmail and send information from Gmail to elsewhere. Just
But
really
it integrates,
so many
yeah, it
things.
integrates with like a lot of the big tools. So I'm assuming it integrates with like Slack,
Yep.
Evernote,
Yep.
does it does Evernote, Gmail,
Yep.
Honeybook,
Yep.
Dubsado,
Yep. I just
probably
started
Google
putting all my
Drive,
courses.
Google Docs.
Exactly. I just started putting all my courses in Kajabi. It's on there. Literally, just go to Zapier.com and there's a search bar at the top, and you can search and see if whatever the apps that you use are on there. And I personally don't sign up for an app that isn't on Zapier. Because I know that I'm going to have data I want to move around, and I don't want to have to do it by myself.
So I actually talked to someone a little while ago. This gentleman was giving a presentation here at WeWork, and he has a really big YouTube channel. And I asked him if he thought about switching off of MailChimp yet for his email marketing and going to ConvertKit, because I know that he knows Pat Flynn really well. And Pat is a big affiliate of ConvertKits. And he said, well, I've thought about it, but really MailChimp is just storing all my data. I use Zapier to actually do all my email marketing. My mind almost exploded because I don't even know how that works. But I was like, okay, I clearly need to explore this tool some more.
That's hilarious. I would love to ask him how he's doing that because
I'll connect you. He's really cool.
yeah.
Okay. So check out Zapier, get some good zaps going. That's what they call them, by the way.
Yep. And I do recommend getting the paid plan because with the free plan, you can only do single step zaps. And with the paid plan, you can do multiple step zaps, which like having it find something for you or look something up, especially like when I'm doing Asana, it'll look up a task for me and then go change something in that task.
So the difference is you can do on the free plan, everyone who fills out my contact form on my website can be automatically added to MailChimp.
Yep.
But
that's a one step.
Yeah, that's a one step. But I want to make it to where it says, do you want to be on my email list? Yes or no. And then it's a multi-step zap because it has to look up whether the answer to that question was yes or no. Correct?
It depends on the app. That may still be a single step zap. It may not.
I've tried to do it myself and I couldn't do it. So I think I need the premium.
It's probably a multi with a filter.
Okay. So that we'll talk about later because I need to.
And if you want help on Zapier, I am going to be doing a Zapier workshop coming up, or I may have just done it depending on when this episode airs. So check out my website under workshops to see if that is coming up or just happened and you can grab the replay.
Okay, perfect. Love that. All right, so our third topic, we're going to transition to which CRM should you look into based on your needs. So we're mostly going to be talking about HoneyBook and Dubsado. And specifically the differences between them. So what would be your starting point? If I come to you and I say, which of these two tools should I use? What kind of questions are you going to ask me?
Yeah, so I want to know how much control do you want to have over the design of your forms? How much automation do you want to do? How much do you, what do you want all of the things to look like? How do you want to use the tool itself? So Dubsado was really great for customizing versus HoneyBook is great for things that are beautiful right out of the box. So if you really want a lot of control, go with Dubsado. If you just wanted it to look good and work, go with HoneyBook.
So I'd like to just note that literally as you were talking, I just got a form submission from my intake form on my website for someone who wants a trademark.
Yes.
So I, after this, am going to use Chelsea's advice and put an autoresponder on there because I can't just respond to their email right now.
Exactly. And I love to put the email saying, hey, I got your information. I'm going to review it and be back to you in, and then however long you expect to get back to your clients in.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were saying HoneyBook is better designed right out of the gate, but it's not as customizable.
Exactly.
They include their branding on a lot of the forms and templates, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because I know with Dubsado, like I've had other Dubsado users, other businesses who use Dubsado, who did not know that I was using Dubsado when they got my forms, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, because you can put your own branding on there. You can make it look completely however you want. And they have the white labeling option where you can white label your portal. So it looks like it actually is hosted on your website. So
nice.
Yeah.
I have not started using the portal. Do you find a lot of your clients utilize that well?
It depends on what they're doing. So if you're a design person, your graphic design, if you are doing anything that has revisions, yes, use your portal to the full extent. Most clients, like of your clients, they will probably not log into the portal just by itself. They'll probably log in through a link that you send them to look at a specific thing. But the portal is there for them to come back to, like your invoices. If you have invoices that have multiple payments, they live there so they can come and pay them anytime. They don't have to wait on a reminder for you. That is another thing about the CRMs. They can send out automatic email reminders about payments that are coming up without you having to do anything and just have the people go pay it. And Dubsado specifically allows recurring payments, or not recurring, where you can select that you just want it to automatically come out. So you don't even have to send them an email and they don't have to do anything. It just comes out of their bank account.
Yeah, I have that. I offer what I call outside counsel legal services where people pay me a monthly fee. So that's
Yep.
all automated
Yep.
through Dubsado.
Exactly.
Nice. So what are some other feature differences between the two programs that you might know of?
Yeah, if you want to do a lot of automations, I would look at Dubsado because their workflows feature is a lot more robust right now. HoneyBook is working on theirs, but it is not quite as robust at the moment. So definitely if you want to have a lot of automations and you want to have a lot of control over those automations, look at Dubsado.
So I feel like it sounds like we're being pretty biased, but both of us actually use Dubsado, so full disclosure there.
Yeah.
But I would say for
I recommend
HoneyBook,
HoneyBook a lot, though.
yeah, I would say for HoneyBook, I would think the big advantage of is it's a lot less overwhelming if you're just starting out, because with all the features Dubsado does have, it can be kind of like, holy shit, where do I even start with this?
Exactly. So typically the people that I'm recommending HoneyBook to, they're newer in business. They want everything to just work right out of the box, look beautiful and simple. It's easy for them. It's easy for their clients. I'm going to recommend HoneyBook for that. If you really want a lot of control and you want to customize things a lot, or if you already have your workflow really figured out and you have a lot of pieces, so you have a lot of questionnaires that you need to send, you have a lot of PDFs, you are, especially if you're a graphic designer, I would definitely recommend Dubsado because it allows you to send and get those revision requests. So that is more when I would say HoneyBook is for, Dubsado is for you. When you want to have a lot more control over the whole entire system, go with Dubsado. If you're just like, I just want something that looks good, it works, and it looks beautiful for my clients, it's easy for my clients to use too, it's easy for me to use, then check out HoneyBook.
Yeah, my first experience with these CRMs was actually as a client.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired a photographer to do a brand photo shoot, and she sent me her contract in HoneyBook. And I was like, oh my God, this is really pretty. It was super simple. I was like, how are you doing this? And she goes, oh, I have this tool called HoneyBook. And I thought, that's awesome. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to try this. At the time, I was using an attorney CRM. So they have CRMs for every field that are customized. There are like 10 big ones for lawyers, and they're way overcomplicated, don't have great workflows. You probably know lots of them. But point being, I was going to go use HoneyBook, and then I realized she had a workflow for brand photography and a workflow for wedding photography, and that was it. That was all of our services.
Yep.
I have like 6 different practice areas and then like 3 different service packages within each of those. Yep. So in Dubsado, I have like 18 different workflows, and it's getting more and more complex. So that's the reason I decided to go that route.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you have a ton of services, Dubsado is going to give you a lot more flexibility as well. And you can have up to 3 brands on one single Dubsado account.
Yeah. So I don't know what the rate is now. I think it's $40 monthly.
I'm not sure.
It was less than that when I started, but I think it's $40 now. But it
was a lot less when I started.
Yeah, I have a second brand on my account because I do have 2 websites, and I know my second brand is only $7 a month.
Yep.
Additionally, so that's great. Okay, so if you want to try out Dubsado, you can go. You said it was chelseabfoster.com/Dubsado, correct?
/Dubsado.
/. Cool.
Same thing with HoneyBook. I have HoneyBook link as well if that is something that you're interested in trying to. So same website, chelseabfoster.com /HoneyBook.
So by using your link, they'll get a discount on whichever of those 2 they choose to use, correct?
Yep. Just make sure that the coupon code on each says Chelsea B. Foster so you can get that discount.
Awesome. Do you have a link for Zapier?
They don't have an affiliate program. So just go to Zapier.com. I know. I've been working on them. So, okay, full disclosure, my husband is the CEO of Zapier and the co-founder. I think I might have mentioned that at the beginning. I've done a lot of podcasts today, so I can't remember. But I've been working on him. That's something that they're just not interested in right now. So
that's fine. I've been hassling H&R Block to get an affiliate program too, and they're not on board because that's what I use for my tax parties. Because you
need an affiliate link for them so bad.
I know, because it would be like a 10 to 20% commission.
Yeah.
for every person that uses it. But whatever. The trick is now you all know that we're telling you to use these programs regardless of whether we're getting affiliate income from them, and that's
Exactly.
part.
Exactly.
Okay. Any last minute tips, tricks, info you want to share before we wrap this up?
If you're just completely overwhelmed with this whole conversation, start with just writing down your system right now. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You can, as you're working with your current client, every time you do something, jot it down on a piece of paper and just keep that paper right next to you and keep jotting down all the steps that you do. That's your workflow. Just start
Yeah.
with that. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. And as you're ready with each new client, add on a new piece and keep building out your system until you do have the whole thing running really smooth and figured
And
out.
this can be as simple as someone fills out my form, and then I'm going to have a phone call with them. After the phone call, they'll email me if they want to hire me. Then I'll send them my contract. Or maybe it's, hey, call me. And then after our phone call, you'll fill out my form. You get the picture. There's like a whole list of things that you need to have done. Write down what order they need to be in. I love a dry
Exactly.
erase board.
Yeah, yeah. I actually just bought a new iPad and I've been like using my notes app to hand write out everything. So
I've also heard of the sticky note method. So I think I got this from Amy Porterfield's podcast on course creation,
mhm.
but it's write each step down on a sticky note and then you
Yep.
can move them all around until you figure out what you want to do.
Yep, exactly. I love that
Okay.
method. And I know a lot of people just keep those up on the wall with them. I have been trying to reduce the number of Post-its that I use because I had my boss before I started my business. She had a serious conversation with me about my Post-it addiction. She was like, you need to clean up your desk, Chelsea. And I was like, but they keep me organized. And then I found Asana and I was like, holy cow, like I can put all my Post-its in Asana.
Yeah, no, I just use a Moleskine notebook for that right now, and I'll eventually get more sophisticated. I don't know.
It's taken me a good, 4 or 5 years now to move from Post-its everywhere to using digital
Yes.
systems.
So the takeaway for this episode really is that systems will make your life easier, but keep in mind it's going to be a work in progress. So you're not striving for perfection. The goal is just to make your business more efficient so you can spend more time on your clients or more time at the beach.
Exactly. Definitely more beach time needed for everyone.
Yes, exactly. I mean, do you know how great it is to be laying like on the beach and they get an email saying you got a new client inquiry? They've already signed your contract, paid you, and scheduled the consultation. And then you can just worry about it the next week when you're going to meet with them.
It's the best feeling in the world. And to
Yes.
know that like they're all taken care of. You don't have anything to do for them until that call.
Yeah,
So good.
exactly. Clients
It's
love
the
it too.
best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that about covers it. I appreciate you for coming on. I'm going to put all of the links in the show notes and summarize your top tips in there. So I'll have that on my website for you to find. And that's always going to be at creativepreneur.community/ whatever episode number this ends up being. So 007, for example, if it's episode 7, that's where you'll be able to find it. So thanks so much, Chelsea. It was amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Braden.
Yeah, you're welcome.